IVAR double shelf super tall version assembly. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Clueless Dad. Yes, I have moved yet again, so I need more shelving units. I like the IVAR that I did a video on 2.5 years ago so much that I got not the single version, but I got the double version, and I got the extra tall version. So this is 89 inches, which is like 200 and something centimeters. And I think it's 89 centimeters per unit, so when it's together it's a little bit less. But basically, it's about this wide, and it's going to be about that tall. So I have this closet here in my new apartment that I want to put it into. Unfortunately, the door is not tall enough, so I'm going to have to assemble it in there. If you're not familiar with the IVAR system, it's super simple. It's basically just these pine kind of side rails, and then it's got shelves. And in this case, because it's the super tall one, it has 6 shelves. The shorter version only came with 4. So now I have double and I have extra shelves. So it should be pretty useful for storing tons and tons of stuff in this closet. Also, they come in 2 different depths, at least for some of the heights. So in this case, I got the 50 centimeter deep one, so it's just more space and more stable. The other thing with the IVAR system is it's basically just side rail, and then a shelf that's connected with pins. And so that kind of obviously supports the weight, but it doesn't keep it from tipping over. So it also comes with this X brace that you have to put across the back, and you just screw it in straight into the pine with no pilot holes. There's no holes marked. They kind of cheaped out on that. One tricky thing with this is that you have to make sure that it's actually like square. So it's, in other words, not slanted. So in my previous case with the shorter one, I did it against the doorway. So hypothetically, my floor is flat and my doorway in my wall is vertical. So I could get it right against there, and that's basically a built-in right angle. So I could just kind of lean it against there and then screw in that X brace. In this case, this thing is actually taller, and then also I can't get it against the door because the ceiling's not high enough there. So anyway, I have a level. So I'm going to try that, and if it's slightly tilted, it's not that big a deal. Anyway, let's see how that goes. So let's just jump into it. So here's one of the side pieces. As you can see, it's just basically untreated pine. In my previous one that I've had for 2.5 years, give or take, it's actually turned kind of brownish because I didn't do any treating. I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. I don't think it's worth it in retrospect to have gone through all the trouble of like lacquering it up or whatever. So I'm just going to leave this one untreated, especially since it's in a closet. No one's really going to see it. These things come with a strap for you to basically screw it into the wall. IKEA wants you to anchor everything that's tall down to the wall, which is probably a good idea. In my previous case with the shorter one, slightly shorter one, I put really heavy things on the bottom, and never was really a problem where I was worried, even with kids, where it was going to tip over. But yeah, probably a good idea to anchor it against the wall. So as you can see, there's 2 sets of holes drilled in all along the length. In this case, where I'm doing like a double shelf, they share the same centerpiece, so that's why you have 2 sets of holes. So one side uses one side, the other side uses the other side, and then the end pieces, you could basically extend it modularly if you wanted to. So the pins that go in here are actually in the shelves, and let's show you how those come out. Okay, so here you can see one of the shelves. It's the same pine, in this case, like pressed into one shelf with this metal rail on the side. And as you can see, I think you can see there's 2 metal pins in each side, and they're sort of anchored in, snapped into a little holder here. You have to pop those out with a screwdriver, or basically use a screwdriver. Be careful you don't like stab yourself, but it's a little tricky to get out. It's annoying because there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 per shelf, and we have 6 shelves per side. So I have 12 shelves times 4 each, so 48 of these pins I gotta pop out. Kind of a pain in the butt. But anyway, yeah, that's the part that goes into the sides, holds everything together before you get to the X brace. So I'll do one and then skip ahead so you don't have to watch me do this 11 more times. Okay. So as you can see, it clicks in quite easy. You don't even have to hit it very hard. Just put a little weight on it. The tricky part now is you have to assemble this. In this case, I'm by myself, without it tipping over while it's here. So if I just let go of this, it's going to tip over. So I've got to get the next shelf in there and clicked into place. Okay, so next step is to get this upper shelf on. I've got it already. I've got my pins. The problem is, in this case, it's since this is so high, the upper shelf is too high to reach unless you're really tall. So probably should get a step ladder or stand on a chair. In my case, I'm going to do the like lower down one, so one up from the top to do that just because it's easier, and then I can do the top one later once I get the X brace in. Okay, so anyway, let's start here. Okay, voila. So as you can see, it'll basically just tip over if you don't have it strengthened. So I'm going to lean it against the wall for now. It should end up being something like this, but because I have the baseboard, I'm going to have to use the level to make sure that I'm not too far off. Okay, here's the X brace. It's actually called the Observator. The hardware to screw these in is actually inside the label, so you might be confused about where it is. But basically there's these eyelets and 4 wood screws, which are pretty common. And yeah, you just, no pilot hole, just put this in and find the right spot and put it in. So from my experience from the last one, I'm going to just start with one of the screws and sort of put it in the middle at a certain height, not actually that important, and then once that's in, then position the rest accordingly. So let's get started. It would be great if they gave you like 2, but I guess they figure one's enough. It fits something like this. You can put it at any height you want, so I'm going to do it around here. I'm going to put it on the front because I have enough space to turn this thing around. So I'm going to do it in the front just so that you can see it. Around here. So as you can see, it goes in super easy. Okay, so now the tricky part, I've got my level. The trick is, don't put the level here because this is a parallelogram, so no matter how slanted this thing is, this should hypothetically stay parallel to that one, which is parallel to the floor. So I'm going to put it on the side and try to kind of approximately line it up. And then once it gets kind of close like that, hold it here, screw that in, check it again. Let's see how that works. I think the easiest thing is, since I have it against the wall, I can use my fingers to kind of control the distance. So something like this is pretty much level. Okay, let's remember that. Get this thing in place. I marked it. Now I can screw it in without actually having to keep it exactly level. Okay, I've got 2 in, one of them still pretty loose. Let me get this one marked and then I'll be able to screw it in. And then make sure it's still straight. Okay. Okay, pretty good. Okay, not too bad. Pretty good. Okay, I've got 4 more shelves to put in, 6 total. Obviously, one goes way up on top. I might move this up or down. We'll see how it goes. So I've got a whole bunch of these Samla bins that I've been using, and ideally I want to be able to put them on here with a little bit space to spare. So I need probably 45 centimeters, give or take, between shelves. That's what I'm aiming for at least. So anyway, let's put in a few and then we'll do the next side. Okay. Okay. Half done. Technically more than half done. Actually, maybe 2/3 done because I've only have 1/3 more to go, but 6 more shelves. So yeah, as you can see, it goes pretty high up, but probably you don't want to put anything too heavy up there because it's going to be a pain to get up and down. I probably could have lived just fine with 5 shelves instead of 6, but you know, these upper shelves, you probably want to put something small and light on them anyway because it's so high up. But yeah, pretty good. So I can fit at least 2 of these, so I can fit 6 here plus another 6 there, and anything that's lightweight but bulky I can actually stick way up on top. I'll have plenty of space. So looking good. Okay. Okay, and there you have it. Not too bad, even all by my lonesome, able to do it pretty quickly. It wasn't actually that hard. More of a pain just to unpack everything. So yeah, I think you can do it yourself pretty easily, even the tall one, but obviously much better and safer if you can get some help. And apologies for the acoustics here. Every time I'm talking, I can hear all this echo because I'm in an empty apartment, so not much I can do about that. Anyhow, see you guys next time. If this video helps you, please leave a comment. If you have any questions or feedback, obviously leave a comment too. See you guys next time. Bye.